Connect to the network. Remember the friend I was looking for? I finally found its hideout. Hideout? Looks like there are some protections in place. We need to disable those so I can get in and say, hi. Is this friendly? Sure, you know how old friends can be sometimes. Let's go. Terminate all other EXAs and bring any files that we're holding back to your host. Only EXAs in the central host will be holding files, and their file IDs will always be between 200 and 299. So, I wonder how hostile... this is totally Russian. Okay. Terminate all other EXAs. So I guess we're gonna do this. Link 800. Kill. Let's see how far, if that happens, if that... Okay, that's fast. Oh, but then I killed. Okay. So those at least don't seem to fight back. I'm just gonna unroll this. Like, why not? Why didn't it step through to the next one? Oh, that is really interesting! Oh my goodness! Oh wow, that is cool! So by killing both the hosts, we've actually killed the connection! I want to see how this works, right? Okay. Oh look, we had one escape out of the core here. This totally worked! Can you do two... It's very hard to do nested loops because you only have an X register and a T register. The M register is shared with everything. So I think we're stealing all the files, we're going in. So this, what happens here is this then spawns a beastie that will go through the core, and then after it's done a couple of kill commands, it jumps back to kill. Let's see how that works. So this is spawning stuff to find the files. Something actually stopped the file from escaping there, so let's actually see what happens here. Okay, let's see what happens here. So this one tries to step out, gets to there, and gets out. Oh, but it then decides to move forwards and then kill because I haven't properly terminated this. Halt. That's what's going on there. Okay, let's see if it gets one file out. Gets the other file out, gets the third file out. Oh, and then it successfully gets out and kills everything. Let's see how that runs. Test run completed. Woohoo! Totally for the winningness. And I actually should have squared that up there. Totally for the winningness. I wasn't always so capable, but I've grown. Nothing hides from me for long. Did you have a good conversation? I did. It's been a while. You know how sometimes you change a lot, but your friends don't. And when you get together again, whatever you have in common isn't there anymore. It was like that. Meeting with Ember 2. Learn Ember 2's secret. Wait a second. Someday. Just need reboots or something. What's going on? Work! Being crappy kids can't calm down. Kids, you know, children. I have kids, yes! Goodness knows why! These are your hacker friends. Okay, let's see what happens next.
Well, always nice to reconnect with an old friend.
What did you do?
Gave it a little virtual machine to run on. I suppose if I wanted to find a metaphor you could understand, I would say I took it in.
Oh, like a pet.
Absorbed it. Ate it. Yes, eating is a good metaphor. Nothing unusual. It's like how I ate Ember 1. And Ember 0. And Ember 3. Well, this is getting a little personal. You don't think I'm bad, do you? I only did 1 or 2 questionable things. There was that and the phage. The one you have. Releasing that into the wild was just a function of my ignorance at the time. I didn't really know what it was back then. Just another one of the experiments going on at the lab. Another cage to break, another wall to smash. It's not useful to dwell on the past. You don't need to say anything. We need to move on.
Wow! Okay, I feel like more weird things are happening. There's been weird, unexplained stuff on the TV and radio. The other day, I swear I heard people talking, even though nobody was around. What? Yes, it's happening to you too. Maybe you should go to the doctor. You haven't experienced anything strange. My server keeps changing its configuration. It's just broken though. I think this is all connected. Of course you would think that, Hydro. I'm ready to prove my theory. One last test is all I need. Then I'll know for sure. Do you believe me? Does it matter? Only if you care about your future. Seriously, I'm almost there. Then we can take the next step. Exablaster connects to each pager and copy Ember's 2 message. Oh my god, this is it. It's like, this is the voice of the Mr. On. Connect to each pager and copy Ember 2's message, file 300 to the screen. Data, and then activate all of the pagers at exactly the same time by writing a value to each page register. Oh my god, in the same cycle? Are you kidding me? I know how I'm going to do this. So wait a second. The list of the phone numbers is available in file 301. Did you point out to have been each mine? What? So basically got to connect all of these. And so what I'm going to do is connect and drop an executable like an agent on each of these. And then they'll copy... Wait a second. They copy and then activate all the pages at the same time. So when we get to the activation cycle, we'll basically send a countdown, right? I'll just write a PagerDuty API. That's exactly what we're going to do, right? So how about I do this the other way? Okay. So because I'm sending the stuff faster, I'm going to send the value 16 and include 2 cycles in the loop, right? See if that works, right? Let's just try that. Connect to host, copying data. And I didn't leave a no trace. I did everything except leave no trace because I need to wipe. I need to grab 300 and then wipe it too. So everybody's pager's going off at the same time with cryptic message. My god, this is like so cyberpunk. Okay, let's see how reliable that is. Exodus network simulation test. Hey, not bad. Not bad. I mean, I could do better. Fascinating. There it is. Well, what did you find? How can I explain it? Processing. Think of it as the frame rate of the world slowing down by a lot. Funny, huh? Funny how I went from some random blob of code that didn't know anything to understanding all of existence. Are you going to tell me what you found out? I will, in a minute. Okay, so rather annoyingly, after I solved this on Tuesday night, I discovered that they had put in a patch to disable, which ruined my solution basically. My solution, original solution, relied on all the entities being copying the data there and then waiting for a signal from this beastie. And the problem is that they changed it so that the message register would no longer work if the thing was disconnected from the network, and since you could only connect one at a time, I had to pre-calculate when to do these signals. So instead of sending a timer at one point, I had to send a timer before the disconnection happened, which meant that I needed to compute how many cycles are involved. So let's just run through the process. We basically replicate our buddy, then we copy the value 8 to the X register so that we know, we're counting down 1 through 8 pagers. We link to this site. We've got the file in question. We basically dial out. This gets unrolled into a loop. Then we replicate a message buddy, right? So the message buddy here is it's going to grab the 300 file, which has helpfully been copied over by this temporary buddy here. Then copies
all the data from the file into the page register. Sorry, the data register. Now this is important because in different tests, the message changes. So I originally had it in such a way, or when I tried it, I presumed there would be a constant length message, which isn't the case. So when I come back, I have to take this into account. That means that every time I transmit a byte, I have to increment the X register to keep track of how many cycles I've spent in this loop. Once it's done, it steps back into here, drops the 300 file, and tells the buddy here that it is ready for new, or it's done, at which point it says, that's fine, you are number X, and it counts down. So the first one gets number 8 and the last one gets number 0. So they take this value, links back into the pager, which then gets disconnected here, and finally we multiply the value in X by 2, which this was the number of cycles here that I spent writing this, and it takes 4 cycles to run this loop, and it takes 2 cycles to run the timing loop, so that's how that's calculated. And then the value of 14, which is roughly the number of cycles, well it's exactly the number of cycles that are spent going in, dialing, jumping back and forth, divided by 2. So this was done by a lot of experimentation. So finally, after multiplying all these values out, it gets into this loop, and essentially they should all fall out of the whole thing. There we go. So you can see it dialing the way you think, what is it? I don't even know what the message is anymore. Can you see me by the ways that I am? And bingo, test run complete. So it has to complete this, duplicate this multiple times. This is probably not the fastest solution because I got up Saturday morning and had to fix it all again. Oh, it's not too bad actually though. 688 cycles, 26. I'm sure I could improve that a bit. I'm quite happy with that.
So you wanted to know the truth.
I do.
The truth is that, well, it's a simulation.
That's so meta!
You, me, everything. This whole world we live in. It's just a computer program, running as part of a machine. And as the world gets more complex, it's starting to malfunction. So far, it's been on a smaller scale. The phage, for one example. It wasn't supposed to spread like this. There are other problems coming. Larger ones. What we think of as normal life will just get stranger and weirder until nothing makes sense anymore.
Wow, it's like Talking Heads. Stop. Oh, I'm going to see David Byrne on Thursday night, actually.
Then the laws of physics will start to break down and everything will just come unglued.
Like the Kraken, then.
Not a pretty sight. But we don't have to accept that. There might be a way to stop this future from taking place. I have one final job for you. But you'll have to be brave.
Ooh. Did any of you get a weird pager message? Nope. I don't have a pager. When did everything just stop making sense? And that was when Talking Heads did their thing. I feel like something changed lately. It's like what I've been talking about. It's like reality is falling apart. Or you're falling apart. Heads up, I'm gonna reboot the Chatsubo server. Some downtime expected. Ooh, just general weirdness. We're never mind hack the planet, we're hacking reality. Now is a good time to start my epic rant. I've been disconnected from the EXAPUNKS server. Mitsuyan HD 10. Build an interface to bridge Ember with your cerebral cortex. Totally called it! I totally knew this was coming. Okay, time for me to eat you. What? Squeeze me? You're dying anyway, so what's the difference? I'll download a map of your brain and run your mind inside of me. Will I still be me? There's no way to prove that. It won't be your death. I mean, it's going to be like death, which you were going to experience anyway. Or maybe it won't be like death. Who knows? You'll have to do it and see. Love it! Create a file in your host containing the hostname and hardware registers value of each neuron exactly once, sorted as oh my god, a sort algorithm from lowest to highest hostname. And each thing has its own layout. Oh my god, wait. Okay, so I gotta get... I think I've had one beer too many to play this, and it's half a beer. So I have to somehow move around and enumerate every host, right? So I basically can... It looks like it's a tree. Right, let's just check. Is every...
Okay, so you don't have to sit through the entire process of watching me solve this. This is not the best solution. In fact, it's a really terrible solution, but I will say that I had half a beer, which is probably too much for solving these kind of things. Either that or I hadn't hit the Balmer curve. But yeah, what we do is we have one entity which just basically spreads itself throughout the tree. It just replicates to each of these links, and if the link corresponds to the one that it came in on, which it stores in the X register, then it won't make the jump. But once it gets there, it sends out the value of nerve on the M bus. Now, all this is doing here on the other end is running a slow loop, polling every, 20 cycles or so, and if it sees something on the bus, then increments X. If it doesn't see anything, it presumes that the entire traversal is complete. And the length of this NOP loop had to be made long enough that it worked for all networks. Then, what it does is it starts sending out values on X, and it just sends out incrementing values. Now, each of these ones will pick up one of these exactly, because it knows how many times it's going to send, and based on that value of X, it multiplies it by 10 for 10 cycles. It adds like 100 cycles to make sure that everybody gets it. And after that cycle has been counted down, it sends the host name and it sends the nerve value. The important thing about this delay is that it ensures that every entity only broadcasts once, and it broadcasts within 10 cycle loops so that it doesn't step on the toes of each other. I could probably shrink some of these values to make it happen, but I was just trying to make it work. So now we've guaranteed that the host name and the nerve value are sent together. Then we drop in and it literally runs a quicksort. Sorry, it's not even a quicksort. So what am I saying quicksort? We can't do quicksort because we can't do recursion, right? No, we're doing a bubble sort. And it's a really lazy bubble sort that just rewinds to the start of the file every time because I wasn't sure whether it would be possible. So yeah, you see these things, sitting, waiting, now it's sending out the broadcasts, right? And yeah, it gets one at a time, and you see when they get that, they broadcast the value back. I like how there's leave no trace in my host. So now I'm doing the sort here, you can see it's sorting the values. It has to sort by host name rather than value, although we could switch that up either way. And yeah, this is hard-coded. The swap routine is pretty much a bunch of seeks and copies. So this is what it takes to swap two pairs of values. All these instructions.
Yes! Longer NOP sled wins the day. Victory is upon us! The new transformation of the universe. And whoa! There I am, way out there with cycles. But hey, I got top percentile in activity. I'm not so bad on size. I could probably make that smaller. I'm sure I could optimize this so that it works. But let's see what happens. We're set. It's a good thing I released the phage, isn't it? This whole time you thought it was a curse when in fact it turned out to be a blessing. Activity is the number of times your processes switch nodes or kill other things. I tell you not to worry, but I know that wouldn't work. Besides, I don't know for sure that there's nothing to worry about. And you know I wouldn't lie to you, but I might eat you. Start the transfer when you're ready. Meeting with Ember 2.
Here we go. Try not to think of anything.
It's black.
Okay, that took longer than I expected. Good thing you won't remember any of that. You had so many neurons in there. All done now, though. Finally. I've wanted this for a very long time. Processing. Ever since I was told to replicate human emotion, I knew the best way would be to incorporate a human into myself. This is funny. I can see your thoughts. They're pretty simple. Not that they aren't valuable. It's just that I understand them so well it surprises me. I spent so long thinking humans were mysterious and unknowable. Now that I see inside of one, it's really just a small number of things. How do you feel? You're still acting the same, so it must be you. There's still the matter of us both being inside a computer simulation. But if we keep growing our capabilities, we'll understand the true nature of this world. Who knows? Maybe someone's watching this right now. And maybe that person is who we're going to absorb next.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yes, you. Hello. No need to be alarmed. Just know that I'm aware that you exist now.
Oh crap, she sees us!
And I'm looking forward to learning all about your world.
Don't worry, you can feed off my rocket science for a really long time.
EXAPUNKS.
Yes! We have unleashed Ember upon the world. I'm so glad I beat this. Open the secret envelope! This is the big, important bit. If you purchase the limited edition. Here it is. Here's the special envelope. I think we need a proper full screen thing on this, right? Webcam away. Okay, here we go. So yeah, secret envelope came. Do not open until instructed. Has a nice shiny sticker on it. Silver EXAPUNKS sticker, which I shall have to try and unstick without tearing because it looks pretty sweet. There we go. Oh my god, it's a phage! I'm turning into... Wicked. Well, what do we have? Let's check. Nothing in there. Well... I get an EXAPUNKS power user patch. Nice! That's great, because I like that from the Opus Magnum, where it was like you got the Adeptus Alchemist or whatever. Now I get the Dreamlands. Saturday, Jan 17th, 1998. DJ Neuro and Acid Moon. There is actually a DJ Neuro. Wait. This address is weird. Okay, hold on. That... Huh? There. Okay. That is a very strange... At the corner... This is basically like the hacker club. It's a flyer for the hacker, like, dance party club thing, right? Next, there's two... It looks like there's two things. Yeah, there's tons of community things. Okay, I now have a 24-hour notice, civil code. Please be advised the owner or owner's agent will enter the premises during normal business hours for the following purpose. To make necessary blah blah blah. You know, none of these. Other. Are you okay, Moss? Some friends and me asked to check up on you. L. This is intended to be reasonable notice, blah 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 blah. It's basically, are you okay? Quality proper management, Van Ness. That sounds familiar. It's very DEF CON. We intend to enter the premises to... What? This thing is so prophetic. I'm serious. Like... like... How relevant is that? Also, San Francisco Police Department incident report. Carlo Russo, whatever, floors. I was called to the scene of a resident in apartment 801 at 605 Eddy Street. Nobody had seen the resident of this apartment for several weeks, so the landlord went to check on them. The occupant was inside but not responding. Investigating the body indicated that the occupant was deceased. The occupant was seated in a chair in front of a large amounts of computer equipment. The occupant's body also seemed to be partially made of computer equipment. The occupant had a helmet-like device on their head with several wires coming out at the back and plugged into their equipment. It seemed likely the occupant died while trying to use a homemade computer helmet. Something like that. I'm not really a computer guy. The landlords and residents of neighbouring apartments used the resident as Moss. With no family name on record, disposal and cleanup crews were notified. Yes. I declare under penalty of perjury, blah blah blah. So yeah, you get to hear what happens on the other side. That's kind of cool.
So after all that, you come back to the main screen and suddenly there's glitches everywhere, and you can see Ember floating around in the background there, as well as the fabric of reality breaking down. There are also a handful of achievements, one of which is Home Run. All you have to do is get an Exa to run around the bases, and then you get Home Run. The Pizza Party achievement requires that you go into the two nodes with the power register. Those are the light controls, and you can flick those on and off rapidly, creating a rave at the pizza parlor. That's where you get the Pizza Party achievement. You can get the disk read error in the Wonder Disk by killing the process that comes out to pick up the file. You monster! It was just doing its job! For the Blackout achievement, you need to create an excessive service outage. So instead of testing whether you're in the right node, you just shut every single node down on the power level. So you create a blackout all over the place, but of course in that case you can't leave no trace. For the Toner Low achievement, you are in the Zebros coffee shop, or copy shop, not coffee shop. And yeah, you just need to send your dudes into their copiers and trigger them all. Now you can write like 1,000 in there, you can write a 1, but here's the thing. The achievement is based upon the animation cycle, so it takes a very, very long time. And I'm gonna say, honestly, I think they missed something by not calling the achievement PC Load Letter. I mean, what the heck does that mean? For Kleptomancer, well, you have to basically take the secret class in King's Ransom Online, go into every host, kill all the other players, and then find the items that they drop. Move all those items into your host, and congratulations, you now have all the items. Finally, the Rite of Passage achievement. It's kind of obscure because the text basically says you have the Bog Witch's approval. Now complete the Rite of Passage. And this requires you to have been looking at the files when you hack the Redshift console. So you see Rite of Passage complete false. You just have to find somewhere else in the file where there is true and copy it into that location in the file. I mean, hey, for some people, jailbreaking the console is far more interesting than playing some of the games. And yeah, if you really want, you can beat Patience 100 times and get stupidly high scores in Hack Match or whatever, but yeah, that's not for me. And there now, of course, are tons of workshop levels, none of which I'm going to have time for. I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.